Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fabulinski's coming at your neck with this endgame Sanguine Alchemy build. Now, I was really going for like something where I could stay alive a lot without having to run Well of Radiance, and when I came up with this build allows me to pile some damage while being able to have some healing rifts down in order to keep my team alive. So let's go ahead and break it down. So as for my subclass of choice, I'm using Attunement of the Elements, which is Bottom Tree Stormcaller, just because of this perk right here, the Arc Soul. Now, anytime that there is a healing rift or an empowering rift down on the floor, any one of my teammates or myself can stand in that and get yourself an Arc Soul, which will help put out damage and honestly do some damage to some of the elemental shields in the Nightfall. It comes in really handy, honestly, way more useful than I thought it was going to. Also, your rift lasts longer, it charges faster when allies are near, so as long as I'm with the team putting down my rift, I'm gonna have my rifts up a lot. They're gonna last longer than the 15 seconds, so it comes in really handy in the in-game content where, especially this week's Nightfall, is the Corrupted, so you need to stay alive a lot, and having a lot of survivability is really useful in the Nightfall. Now, as for my loadout of choice, I'm running a Sacred Providence. I got this beast of a roll. Let's just check it out real quick. I got full bore, ricochet rounds, outlaw, and kill clip. It has a handling masterwork, which is actually better than I thought. I was talking to some of my clanmates. They were saying that the handling on that weapon isn't too great, as you guys can see right here. So being able to stow it or ready it faster and ADS faster is always good. Plus kill clip, I think, is the best damaging perk for the Nightfall, because all you need to do is get one kill, reload, and then you got 30% or 33%, I can't remember exactly. You get that damage buff, so it's really good because you don't have to chain together kills with like Rampage or even multi kill clip. But multi kill clip, you can stack it up once, times 2, and then times 3, and so on. But I personally find kill clip to be the best for me. I'm also running an unstoppable burst to help with some of these champions. Now, I'm also running Divinity. I just got this bad boy not too long ago with my clan, and I need it for the disruption, but honestly, just having Divinity on any type of Nightfall is just so useful. It helps burn down the champions extremely easy. And as for my heavy weapon of choice, honestly, you can run whatever you want, but I'm using a Berenger's Memory. I have quick draw, auto loading, and spike nades on this grenade launcher. There's a lot of void shields. I think they're like Taken Acolyte or something like that have void shields, so this is really good for those situations. Plus spike nades, anytime I land direct hits, is going to do increased damage, so pretty good grenade launcher all around. As for my stats, I have 25 mobility, I got 27 resilience. Now, the main part of my stats right here is having 100 recovery. This is going to shorten my rift cooldown to 41 seconds, plus being able to have it longer. It's really going to feel shorter than that because of some of the mods I have, plus standing in the rift makes it last longer, and same thing with Sanguine Alchemy also increased the rift duration. So, it's going to feel shorter just because the rifts are going to last longer. You'll see what I mean when I explain it later. I have 53 discipline, I have 56 intellect. These two right here are actually pretty good. This is what I was going for, so if I could have had these a little bit higher, but honestly I'll take these stats. And then we have 15 strength, which honestly that's fine. Honestly, if I could even take the last 10 and put them somewhere else, I would do that if I could. Now let's start with the helmet here. I have a special ammo finder so I can have the most Divinity ammo as possible, and then I have a grenade launcher ammo, you guys guessed it, so I can have as many grenades as possible. It's pretty simple here. Now on my arms, I'm running a discipline mod so we can get the discipline stat up. We have an enhanced pulse rifle loader because I'm using Sacred Providence. It's actually really useful on that gun because the reload speed is pretty slow, unless of course I proc outlaw. But let's say if I can't do that, and then I can use this instead. Plus I think it stacks with outlaw a little bit, so it's a really fast reload animation. And we got taking charge because I'm using a few charge with light mods, so I need this in order to become charge with light. Now onto my exotic armor piece of choice, we're running Sanguine Alchemy. Now the perk that comes in this piece is Blood Magic. Weapon kills while standing in any rift, pause the rift's countdown, extending its duration. Further kills maintain and extend the length of the pause. So as long as I'm inside the rift and getting kills with my weapon, the rift is gonna pause for a little bit. I think it's like 5 seconds or so. It does not move down, so as long as I'm standing in there, plus I have the Arc Soul, it's gonna do a lot of damage. My rifts are gonna last so long, paired with the fact that the Bottom Tree Stormcaller allows for you to make your rift last longer as long as you're standing in it. I'm gonna have my rift up a lot and for a lot longer. I'm also running counter charge so that way I can become charged light whenever any of the champions are dealt with. And then we have rifle reserve so that way I can increase the ammo of my Divinity. And yes, this does work. I tested it out. It gives you, I think, plus 47 in the capacity, I guess, for your trace rifle, especially for Divinity. It's very useful to have that as much as possible. And on my legs, we're running a recovery mod. We're running special ammo scavenger so that way I get bonus reserves whenever I pick up any special bricks. And then we're running charged up. This allows me to have 3 stacks of charge light up up from 2. You know, it's just a little boost right there. I wasn't able to use supercharge in this situation, so I just used charged up. And on my warlock bond, we got another recovery mod. We're running double perpetuation mod, so that whenever I use my rift, I get a little chunk of it back just simply for using it. Really important in this build because I want to be able to have my rift up as much as possible. I'm going to be able to do so just by standing in the rift. It's going to last longer, so this is going to help me, you know, kill some of that downtime, I guess you could say. When my rift isn't available, I'm going to be able to stand in it, make it last longer until my next rift comes up. And then we're running Protective Light. While charged with light, you gain significant damage resistance against combatants when your shields are destroyed. This effect consumes all stacks of charged with light. The more stacks consumed, the longer the damage resistance lasts, but it does take away 10 from my strength, which I said doesn't even matter, so that's fine with me. But this is really useful because in the Nightfall, there's a lot of times where you're gonna come very close to death and you do not want to die, have to start back at the checkpoint or something like that. And especially with a strike like the Corrupted, it took me like 28-29 minutes to complete, so it's one of the longer strikes in the game, which is why I like it a lot. It feels really challenging, makes me feel like it's back in D1 with the original Nightfalls. They were so much harder back then, so being able to stay alive in some of this hard content is really useful, and definitely don't want to die and have to start back from the checkpoint. After playing with this build, I'm convinced that Sanguine Alchemy is actually a slept on warlock exotic. You know, I wasn't sure before I used it, wasn't sure how much it was going to be able to, you know, come in handy, but being able to just have your rift up all the time pretty much, also pairing it with the Arc Soul from Bottom Tree Stormcaller, which again I feel like is also slept on, because you would think that in the Nightfall and stuff, why not just run Well of Radiance? You know, that's like the end game class for warlocks. But you know, I like to switch it up. I don't want to always have to default to one specific skill tree. So being able to always have my Well up, which provides the support that the warlocks kind of are supposed to do, while also providing Arc Souls, is like a DPS damage like support kind of build, I guess you can say. I have the Well up, or the Rift I should say, plus I have Arc Souls going on for all my teammates to help a tremendous amount whenever there was a lot of ads or even a lot of arc shields, because there was times where, you know, you're pinned against the wall, there's like Thrall or Acolyte swarming you and you don't know what to do, but that Arc Soul's putting in work, and maybe you're just a bit overwhelmed, but you don't even got to think about it. You know, their Arc Soul's putting in work, plus once you give it to all your teammates, that's 3 automatic turrets that you don't even have to think about aiming, and that's extra damage. So it came in really handy, way more handy than I thought. And you don't even have to run Bottom Tree Stormcaller. Like I said, you can honestly run whatever subclass you want to use. Like if you are dedicated to Well of Radiance, that subclass, you can honestly run that, because I know Well of Radiance is also, the whole subclass revolves around putting in damage, like the Benevolent Strike, I think it's called. I can't remember that much, but the melee strike that gives you your rift abilities back, or all your abilities back faster. Plus, if anybody takes your healing grenade, you get your all your abilities back faster. So you can actually, you know, that can work pretty good too, because it's still a rift, and rifts are still very valuable in the end game content. So being able to, you know, have that up is just, I'm telling you, it's crazy. And let's say if you want to run Bottom Tree Voidwalker with Devourer plus the healing rift, like you just literally will never die, right? You would just never die. You'll keep getting Devourer proc. You'll have your rift up. And if your teammates aren't warlocks and they have some place to hide, you know, it's so good. It's so good. Sanguine Alchemy honestly might become one of my favorite warlock exotics. And honestly, I was sleeping on Bottom Tree Stormcaller. You know, I always like to run Top Tree Stormcaller because I like the arc web, and I think it has a lot of synergy in that aspect. But honestly, this subclass has a lot of synergy revolving around the rift, because the subclass kind of based around being able to have the Arc Soul up a lot. And pair that with the fact that I have Sanguine Alchemy, that as long as I'm getting weapon kills while in the rift, they last longer, and as long as I'm standing inside my rift, they last longer as well due to the subclass. It's honestly really good. It's really good for some of this endgame activity. You know, if you're tired of running well and you want to try and switch it up a little bit while still being able to do some support and do some damage, I highly recommend trying this build out. You're actually gonna feel like you're doing something in the strike. And not saying that warlocks don't do anything, but whenever I'm on Well of Radiance, I feel like I can't really, all I'm doing is healing the team, you know, and I understand that that is the support subclass. But if you still want a way to support your subclass, or your team rather, and still do damage, I feel like you're having an impact, I highly recommend this out. You're gonna see the Arc Buddy putting in work, you're gonna have your rifts up, you're gonna heal whenever there's mobs, you're gonna stay alive, and it's just a lot of fun. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. Links are in the description below. I have a lot of crazy builds, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well follow my social media. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, both at @fat_bloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.